Hi, guys, and welcome back to Live and Learn with Livi. I'm your host, Livi. How are we all doing today? If you're watching on YouTube, which you fucking should be because I just feel like watching on YouTube is like such a better vibe. I am pale as fuck. Like, I am dead ass really fucking pale. And you know what? That's fine, bitch. That's fucking fine. But yeah, no, I'm very pale, but you get to see the full brunette hair. So if you want to tune into YouTube, I highly recommend it. She is Livy everywhere. So she is Livy on YouTube too, bitch. But, anyways, let me just tell you about my day a little bit. I had a level 10, level 7 crash out, I would say. Like this morning, I crashed the fuck out just because I don't know. I was just feeling overwhelmed. I talk about it in this week's YouTube video, but I was just feeling so fucking overwhelmed. Like it wasn't even funny. So yeah, no, I definitely had a little bit of a crash out. And then I made Sissy take Instagram photos of me. I put in these clips and extensions. I said, oh, I'm a brand new fucking bitch. Like I am a brand new bitch. So I'm feeling a lot better. And I'm really excited about today's episode because if there's one thing I do well, it's date a fucking loser. Like I have dated my fair share of fucking losers. I've dated enough losers for all of us. Like we don't need to ever date another loser in our lives again because Livy's taken the fucking hit, bitch. Like I have dated so many fucking losers. And this week's episode, I'm going to narrow down the top 3 losers I found myself dating. And you know what? I'm going to drop names. I'm going to drop addresses. No, could you imagine if I was like, I'm coming on here and I'm dropping their Instagram handles? Those whores would love that shit. Anyways, I'm not doing that, but I want to get into it because I'm just so excited to talk about the fucking losers. So let's start with our first type of loser, and that is going to be the non-committal, emotionally available loser. Okay, these tend to be my favorite kind of losers, and these are actually the guys that I'm like, wait a minute, I think he could be my boyfriend. And it's like, get a lobotomy, because why the fuck would this loser be your boyfriend? And it's because the non-committal, emotionally unintelligent. I'm sorry, you're the unintelligent one. But the non-committal, emotionally unintelligent. Wait, what is the fuck? What did I call them? Hold on a minute. I just don't remember. The non-committal losers who are emotionally unavailable. There we go. I didn't say anything about their intelligence level, but I should. They're probably fucking stupid. But these are the ones that make you, or when you first talk to them, you're like, hold on, is this one my soulmate? Because it's normally the ones where you have such a good connection with them. Right off the fucking bat, you're like, oh my God, I have such a good connection with this guy. I could see this person. I like talking to them. Let's just say you've done 1 to 2 FaceTimes and you texting every day kind of thing. You're in the very beginning talking stages and you're like, hold on a minute. This is this my boyfriend? Is this about to be my boyfriend? And then all of a sudden they go cold and you hear nothing fucking from them. After you probably were just on FaceTime for 3 fucking hours telling them about your goddamn father and about your life and you're deep diving. You're like, no. And I actually want to help animals in the world. And they're like, wow, that's so amazing. And you just have a really good banter with them. You feel like you can tell them anything. And then you don't hear from them. And you're like, wait, did I imagine that conversation we had last night? I thought that was a really good conversation. I thought we were really getting along. I thought this was a vibe. I thought we were fucking vibing together. And you don't hear from him. And they don't ghost you because they are very one foot in, 1 foot out. They're very emotionally unavailable. They're very much losers in that sense. And the thing is with these emotionally unavailable losers, it's the hardest to deal with in my opinion because you end up liking them and you're like, wait, but I like this one. So when he comes back around the first time, you're like, oh, it's you know what? It was just whatever. Yeah. You know what? He was busy with work, so was I, but I still find the time to think about him and want to text him and things like that. But this fucker was so busy with work. So that's fine. And you're like, you know what? Let me just give him another chance. I'll give him another chance to prove himself. That's completely fine. So you go back in the same routine with this loser. It's you and the emotionally unavailable loser. You're texting all the time. You get on another FaceTime. You get even deeper with this loser. He's like, yeah, I'm taking you on a date next week. Da 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 da. He's like, I really like you. We're you see something, da da da, whatever. He's probably not even saying that, but you're actually the non-committal loser is actually not saying oh, I really like you. He's just kind of oh no. He's making it seem like he likes you. You're laughing, you're smiling, you two are having a fucking ball. And this is just right after you let him back in again. And you're like, okay, no, I really like him. And you wake up the next day. Not a peep. you don't hear a peep from him. It could be a couple days you don't hear a peep from him. It could be a couple weeks you don't hear a peep from this stupid motherfucker. It could be a couple months and you don't hear a peep from this motherfucker. And then you're sitting there, you're feeling actually dumb as absolute fuck because you're like, how did I just repeat this cycle with this person? Why did I just like let this person back in after they've already done this once to me? Like, what am I on? At least me personally, I'm gonna self-reflect. Like, I'm a self-reflecting as bitch. I'm like, wait, huh? Like, what the fuck was that? And then you're in your head and they have you questioning yourself because you're like, is it me? Am I the problem? Do they low-key have a fucking girlfriend? How are we gonna go from having like good communication, talking all the time, to you ghosting me yet again? Ladies and gentlemen, that brings me to the emotionally unavailable losers. They're very much 1 foot in, 1 foot out. They're testing you and you don't even realize this. They're testing to see how much they can get from you without doing actually fucking anything. They're going to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You're not going to know if they even like you. If you have to even sit there and be like, I don't know if he likes me. He doesn't like you. At least he doesn't like you enough to pursue something seriously with you, unfortunately. And I know that's like kind of harsh and kind of intense, but like, it's the truth. Like, the emotionally unavailable ones are there to like ice you out so fucking quickly. And I'm specifically thinking of two that I've dealt with this with. And it literally makes me like crash out so fucking hard sometimes. Like, not that hard. Like, come on, bitch, be real. But I'm just sitting there and I'm like talking to my friend about how much like, oh my God, like I actually like this one. Like, we get along so well. Like, I really like him. And then I don't hear from him. And then I have to go back to that same friend and be like, no, yeah, so he did the thing again where I don't hear from him for like a while, and then you get all excited when they text you, and it's like the dopamine rush comes all the way back, like, cause you haven't heard from this fucker, he just iced you out, and then he texts you, and you're like, oh my God, like fucking Brad texting me, like I'm so excited, and then it kind of gives you an overwhelming feeling of anxiety too, because you know you're about to enter this cycle one more fucking time, and you told yourself you wouldn't, you told yourself, you know what, I'm done, like I gave him a chance the last time, like I'm not doing that again, but the excitement and the dopamine that fucking runs through your body when you get a text from that loser, unmatched. It's so good. It's so good. And then I find myself though, like once I'm like deep in the cycle with the emotionally unavailable losers, I'm not even putting two and two together that this motherfucker's emotionally available. I'm believing the lies that he's busy with work. I'm believing the lies that, oh, he's having family things, all of those things. Everything is communicationable. Wait, hold on. You can communicate everything. A man that really likes you is never going to sit there and let you wonder if he likes you. He's going to make it known by his actions. He's going to have the dates planned. He's not going to walk in and out of your life at his convenience just because he fucking can. That is not what a man who likes you is ever going to do. So that's how you just know you're like, they don't like me, but I like them. And you know what I like more than I like this fucking loser? I like the chase. I like the rush of dopamine I get when I see his fat ass name on my screen. I love it. And it is such a toxic cycle to fall into, and it's so addicting. It's not even funny because they're sitting there being like, no, I'll be better, like I'm sorry that hurt your feelings, that like I ghosted you, all those things, like, and they're making up excuses, but you're like, I have a good connection with this one, I really fucking like this one, so like what do I do? And you walk the fuck away. And that's why boundaries are actually so important, because once you have the boundary with yourself, like, hey, I don't let people walk in and out of my life at their own convenience, and like I actually want a long-term and serious relationship with somebody, you're not going to even have the energy to put up with like the non-committal fucking losers, because you're like, he's literally showing me who he is, and like I don't want to deal with it anymore. But when you're in it, like, you're in the thick of it. You're in the like, oh, he's typing. Like, oh my God, he just like texted me. Oh, he's FaceTiming. Oh, don't even get me started with a FaceTime. I'm like I love it. And, you know, it's really difficult for me specifically because we know I hate men. So when I find one I like and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm really vibing with this one. I really like this one. I talked about this on TikTok, but in Instagram, I call it the bitch line, and I don't feel the need to call this man a bitch yet. So basically, it's like when I first start talking to someone, I have like all the utmost respect for them. Like I really like them. But as soon as they do something that like crosses the bitch line where I feel comfortable enough calling this motherfucker a bitch, that's when I know I can't be with them. And like both of the guys that I've dealt with, the like emotionally unavailable losers, I have called bitches. Like I've openly called them a bitch several fucking times where I'm like, no, you did bitch things. You're acting like a bitch. And like, I don't want to date. If I wanted to date a bitch, I'd be a fucking lesbian. Okay. And I'd be a damn good one. Anyways. Yeah. And that's like the thing. Where did I just go off track? Anyways, but with these types of guys, it's so easy to fall into that pattern of like, and you could let it go on for years and you really could. And like, I actually always found myself finding this one. No, not me even like, not me even being like, okay, like we have a soul connection. So like, why am I going to bring this up on the podcast? No, we like don't, but we like do. We don't, but we do. But I always was in this cycle with him and I realized like he's just never gonna give me what I want. Like I'm ready for a relationship. I'm ready to be like emotionally available to somebody. I didn't say it's gonna be fucking easy for me, bitch, but I said like I'm ready. And like I just always like found myself like going back to him. If anything, I was also doing this to him. And that's how I really know that these are the emotionally unavailable losers, because I was once emotionally unavailable. Never been a loser, bitch. Never been a loser. But I was also emotionally unavailable at one point and like doing these things to people. And like, it's not okay. And I had one motherfucker call me out on it. And like, I still think about you. No, okay. Could you? And I still think about you. But I was in this like a vicious cycle with this one guy. We'll call him Brad because we're just going to call every man Brad. And I liked him because I like anybody that I can have like a deep and long conversation with, and someone who just like gets my humor, or someone I can call when I'm like crashing out low key. Like that's how I know I really like someone. If I can call you like mid crash out, like that's how you know like I actually fucking like you. Or if I'm calling and asking for your advice, I never ask people for their advice unless it's like Sissy or a couple of my friends. Like I rarely ask for advice. And if I'm calling you asking for advice, that means like I value you and I like you. And I would just find myself in situations like him and I were like playing the stupid fucking game of like the back and forth with each other. Like anytime I saw his name pop up on my phone, I was like, But I was also like this time around, I was doing it to him too. And I think we both definitely felt it of just like okay, it was almost like I feel like it didn't even matter about us liking each other anymore. It mattered who had the power. Like he always wanted the power and I always wanted the power. And like that's not healthy and that's not a good situation to ever be in your entire life, because a relationship isn't about who has the power and who's in control. A relationship is about like a partnership and being able to work together. And like me and him did not work together. It was just kind of like, he'd be like, oh, like you're playing hard to get. I was like, I don't even think it's that. I think I'm so emotionally ill and I'm so emotionally unavailable. But like the sense of you coming even closer into my life is like scaring the fuck out of me. So I find myself like ghosting you kind of thing. And then once him and I had our little like thing together, like we did what we needed to do, and he was still being emotionally unavailable, and I was like, yeah, I don't want that anymore. Like I don't really want that whatsoever. I got up and like moved the fuck on, and like I do find myself not like I know we'll never be anything romantically, and like I don't want to be anything romantically with him because like I do just want better for myself. But I do find myself in certain situations being like, I just want to call him, like I just want to talk to him. So I'll allow myself to like do that. But even when he's back in my life, like I still feel it. Like I still feel the tug and pull and like the little game that we were playing for so long. Like I still feel it. And even if we're not even doing it in like a romantic or emotional way, we're literally doing it as friends. Like I still want the power, and like that's fucked up. And it's not something I want with someone who's going to be like my future partner. It's not something I see with someone who's going to be my future partner. And then the other motherfucker that I dealt with the same stuff with too, it came to a point where I was like, this is so unattractive. Like, and you take a step back, honestly, when you're dealing with like the emotionally unavailable loser, when you're honestly too, I feel like because I always like to take a step back and it's like, okay, so why am I attracting the emotionally unavailable loser? And it's not even like, okay, I'm attracting him, but I'm allowing him in my life. I think that's a way bigger of an issue and like a deal than like I'm allowing it to happen. You know, like I'm allowing this cycle to go on. And like that's the real fucking problem there. It's less about him and it's more about, why am I okay with this? Why am I okay with someone coming in my life, giving me half-ass energy, walking in and out whenever he fucking wants to? Like, why am I okay with that? And like when I sit down and I think like, why am I okay with that? I think it does just come down to like still a little bit of like a fear of commitment, because I'm not fully having to commit to this person. I'm not fully having to give him everything, even though I do like him and I would in a world far, far away like to see a future with this person because I like him, I am not able to like allow myself to fully get there because he's so wishy-washy, and like it's almost like I'm enjoying the chase more than I'm enjoying him. And that's just kind of what it came down to. Like I was enjoying the chase of it all. I was enjoying the dopamine of his fucking name popping up on my phone way more than I actually like. At the end of the day, I was like, oh wait, he's a fucking loser. Like I don't like him. I like the chase of this all. Like I love when I see that little number pop up on my phone. Like I love that shit. It gets me going, and it's like that's not healthy, and that's not how I'm ever gonna build sorry, I had to put lip gloss on, a relationship with somebody. Like I'm just fully not building a relationship with somebody in that sense. Like, oh, you want to talk about how mommy and daddy met? Well, daddy low-key ghosted mom. Get fucked. That ain't ever happening to me, love. It's not ever happening to me. And I feel like this type of loser is the one that we all have dealt with, and we all like are definitely very familiar with. Like the other ones I talk about, you guys probably don't know that much about. You're like, yeah, right. But this is the one where it's like I genuinely feel like this is the biggest test from the universe. Like, are you willing to put yourself first? Are you willing to uphold the boundaries of like, you know what? I want a partner. I want somebody to be in a long-term relationship with. I want this. So I cannot engage with somebody who is not reflecting what I want and what I need in life. And that doesn't mean it has to be like a big go fuck yourself, you loser bitch text message to him. But it's just you walking away and choosing yourself because you're like, he's never going to be the man I want him to be. And if anything, he showed me he's a bitch, and I don't want to date a bitch. So let me walk away from this entire situation in general, no matter how much I like him. Let me walk the fuck away, because the man who's meant for me, I guarantee you, I'm going to like him 30 times better than the motherfucker who was wishy-washy, in and out of my life, and emotionally unavailable. Like, no thank you. God, am I growing? No, I don't know. Okay. The next type of emotional. Okay, whoa. And if anything, let me tell you, the emotionally unavailable loser isn't doing it because they like you. They're doing it for their ego. So anytime they come in, you show them that they can get you whenever they want. Okay. Our next losers, are we ready? Is the broke, I bring nothing to the motherfucking table. You're not eating tonight, bitch. Starve. There's nothing on the table. I'm broke, bitch. Is the brokey. Okay. Actually, that's so crazy of me. These are the broke motherfuckers. Girls. Should I get into my confession first, or should I get into my definition of what a brokey is? Let's get into my confession first. This is an extremely embarrassing thing for me to admit on the internet. I've talked about sucking dick. I've talked about a lot of things on the internet. For me to admit this is 30 times worse than any of that. Me, Livi, I used to love a broke man. Something about it, like I loved me a brokey. I don't know what it was. Like if you had looked at my past 2 long-term relationships, like before Frenchie, and you looked at those, I was in 2.5 year long relationships. I spent 5 years with broke men, 2 different ones. You would have looked at my type and said, oh, I guess Livi loves a brokey. Like, that's the only thing you would have gotten from my type is, okay, so I guess Livi's into the brokies. Those motherfuckers, so broke. But here's the thing is, when I talk about brokey, I am not talking about financially broke. Okay, yes, I am. There's a difference with like being broke and then having no work ethic and no motivation, because we've all been broke. Like maybe actually you haven't. Maybe some of you are trust fund babies. I've personally been broke. I personally had actually no fucking money to my name. And those are not the guys I'm talking about whatsoever. It's the brokies who are completely fine with being broke and have no work ethic and are sitting in bed watching fucking Netflix all day, doing absolutely nothing, have no will to work or do actually fucking anything. Those are the brokies I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the guys that have like actually $0 in their bank accounts, because I believe if you want something bad enough, you're going to make it happen. Like that, you're not a brokey if you have $0 in your bank account. You're a brokey if you don't like have any fucking work ethic and you're not trying to make some goddamn money. That's when you're a brokey. But yeah, I used to love me a brokey. And the thing is, with a brokey, okay, like me saying this so casually told me, the thing is with a brokey, it's just a world that I won't ever get into again. And honestly, I was very young when I was in both my long-term relationships. I was 16 to 18 and then 18 to 21 or 20, I believe. You're like, not that fucking young. But like, I was obviously the breadwinner in my relationships. And I hated that. Like, it's not that I hated that. It was more that I hated that he was doing nothing to bring anything to the fucking table. Like, I was sitting there like, oh, let's go do this, this, and that. He's like, oh, I can't afford it. I'm like, well, that's because you never get the fuck up and you don't work. Like, what are you talking about? I was 17 years old. I was a senior in high school, going to school all day, then going home, going to work all night. And I had my 20-year-old boyfriend laying in my fucking bed at my house watching Netflix like an actual fucking loser. So, like, it has nothing to do with the money in your account. It has everything to do with the work ethic that you have and like how willing you are to like make money, not even money, just like a career for yourself and like goals and things like that. I will never, hand to God, be with a brokey again. And the reason why is not just the blaring obvious that nobody wants to be with a man who has no fucking work ethic, is because when I think of a partnership and I think about somebody who's going to be my future boyfriend, I want somebody to come into my life and be able to teach me things that I don't already know. And I'm not talking like money or anything like that. I want this person to show me a way of life that I've never seen before. And I'm not talking finances whatsoever, because I have my own opinion on like finances within a relationship and everything like that we'll get into. But I want someone to come into my life and show me things I've never even fucking seen. Teach me things that I'm not even aware of, such as like, let's say they're really like right now I'm really learning a lot about like meditation and just like health and wellness and how I want to treat my body and like take care of my body and things like that. I want somebody to come into my life who's like, you know what, if you do this, this and that, like just teach me some things that I've never fucking seen before. Teach me about an S&P 500 bitch or some index funds. Actually, I know about those. Teach me about no, and I also know about the stock market. Teach me about something deeper. Teach me about things I don't know. I want someone who can come into my life and bring me not only knowledge, but like a life I haven't experienced, in the sense of just like, maybe that's traveling more. No, see, I've traveled a lot, but like traveling more, going to different places in the world that there are those their favorite places and just things like that, and learning more. I don't ever want to be the smartest, richest. I'll always be the prettiest person in no, okay. But I don't want to be the smartest or the richest person in a room ever, because that means I'm not in the right room. I always want to be learning. I always want to be growing. Like eventually, probably when I'm 40, yeah, I want to be like the richest person in the room. But like, I want to learn. I want to learn from the people that I put in my life and the people that are fucking around me. I don't want to always be the one teaching everybody everything. And not to be like, I'm always teaching everyone everything, but like, I've definitely done that in past relationships where I'm the one bringing the knowledge. I'm the one that's pushing them to be a better version of themselves. I've never once been in a relationship where they're pushing me to be the better version of myself whatsoever, because I'm already doing that for myself. Like, I can't even imagine like having a man who's like actively trying to make me the best version of myself as I am actively also trying to make myself the best version of myself. I truly think I'd be like so fucking unstoppable, and that man would be my husband. I'd be down on one knee like, let's go. You know what I mean? And even if that means teaching me ways about love that I didn't know I could be loved or anything like that, I am also willing to like allow that into my life too. I don't ever want to date a brokey who just doesn't bring anything to the table anymore. Like, that's what I mean when I'm talking about a brokey. I want someone who gives me a life that I've never experienced. And I don't mean that about finances whatsoever, because I know the internet loves to run and talk about finances. And I'm actually going to say something that's probably going to shock a lot of you. I don't believe in my man being like a provider for me. And I've never believed in that in my entire life. I've always been very headstrong about the money I make and everything that I'm doing. Like, I've always wanted my own 2 feet in this like world. I've always wanted my own finances. Like, even if I get married, I'm not even positive I will share my bank account with that person. I'll have a joint bank account with them, but I'm also going to have my own bank account. Like, I make my own money. I have my own financial goals. I have my own things that I want to accomplish wealth-wise. Like, and I don't want a man to provide that for me. I really don't. Don't get me wrong though. I'm not out here looking for like to be the breadwinner anymore. Like, I don't ever want to be in a relationship where that's not true. I'd be fine with like making more money than them, but that's because I'm going to be like a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with them making equal money to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fine with that. But like, I want somebody who's worked equally, probably if not harder than I've worked to be at where I'm at like this point in my life, you know? And okay, back to what I was saying, like, yeah, no, I don't believe in a man paying my bills. Like, if I was to get a boyfriend tomorrow and he's like, oh my God, let me pay your rent, I'd be like, it's okay. Number one, it's a write off. Number two, like, I'm not in a relationship for like the financial aspect of it. And like, I really do think relationships should be like 70-30. Like, don't think I'm fucking crazy. I don't think it should be like 50-50. I mean, honestly, kind of, yeah, but I would prefer more of like a 70-30 because like he does the 70, I do the 30. Say that's like me buying like the groceries and stuff like that because like I know what I want to eat grocery wise. I know what I want to make. I know what I want to cook. But like date nights, he always has that. Like trips, he always has that. Everything like that. I also come from a background where, and I think your background is like everything, but I saw my mom put her entire trust in my dad financially, and like she was a trophy wife. And the thing is, like, you have to do whatever the fuck these losers say. Like, you really don't have like a voice of your own, like, because you're relying on this person for money kind of thing. And I mean, maybe it's just the man that she married, and I know it's the man that she married, but like, even growing up, I always knew I wanted everything on my own. Like, I knew whether or not I was going to be in a relationship, I was always going to be successful, and I was always going to be financially stable. I always knew that. It didn't matter about who my partner was or anything like that. Like, yes, they can have their own money, and they fucking should, and they will, but like, it doesn't mean it's my money, and I'm fine with that. And I know that's like probably shocking because I am like bad bitch, da da da, all those things. But at the same time, like, realistically, I don't ever think a man needs to like be my personal provider because I've already provided for myself. So that's why, like, yeah. Don't get me wrong though. I'm still being like vacations, things like that. Like, majority, I do think the man should pick up. My dad, that's one thing I always really liked about, and I don't fuck with my dad, so like for me to even say this is kind of crazy, but like the one thing I did really like about my dad was like wherever we went or whatever we did, it was always going to be on him no matter who we were with. Like, it was always going to be on him. Like, he was like, no, I'm always picking up the check and it's no problem, nothing like that. That is what I do see in like my future with like relationships and stuff like that. Like, I would love to go to dinner with my girlfriends, and even my friends' boyfriends do this though. When we're all at dinner, they're always going to like pick up the tab. Like, I don't, yeah. And obviously, I would want my boyfriend to do that as well. But also at the same time, I find comfort and I find stability knowing that, like, if it came down to it, I could also pick up the check and everything's going to be fine and I'm going to cover everything as well. So, yeah, but I just, like, don't believe in the whole, like, he needs to provide for me. He needs to pay these bills. Like, these bills will be paid regardless. Like, if anything, I want someone in my life, not because I need them financially, but because I want them there because they're making me a better version of myself. They're adding something into my life. You're never going to come into my life and not bring me something. Like, you're just not going to come into my life. Like, just fuck you. No, I'm like, you're never going to come into my life that I built for myself from the ground fucking up. And I've done everything on my own. And you're not going to provide anything, like, not even like emotionally, anything of that sense. Like, I'm not going to allow you into my life if you're not an addition. Like, what the fuck do I look like? No, thank you. I worked way too hard to ever let anyone come in my life and bring me down in any sort of way. Like, I'm over that. I'm past that. I've done that, you know? I don't need that. I'm not desperate for love, and I'm not desperate for validation from men. I definitely think at one point in my life I totally could have been. I mean, obviously, like, when you have daddy issues, I think those are things that you actively work through. And I've definitely been through that before in the past. But like, now, no. Like, I've done everything for myself, and I will put someone in my life who's equally done that much for themselves and like built their name up as well. But that's why I'm not willing to date a brokey, because I'm just not willing to date a man who doesn't want to be the best version of himself, or isn't like taking such good care of himself, or is okay with living like a below average life. Like, I'm not okay with that. I'm not at all, because I know what the fuck I bring to the table, and I don't want to be the only one showing up at that table to eat, bitch. Like, you gotta bring some stuff too, because it ain't just gonna be me, love. It ain't just gonna be me. So when I think about the losers I've dated, like I'm, as crazy as it sounds, I'm a very nurturing person. I do love to see people become like the best versions of themselves. I think back in the day, I liked a project way more than I liked like a fucking real ass man. And the men I was dating were more like projects than they were anything else. It was like me building them up. Like, you got it, babe. Like, you got it. Like, when I think about the brokeys I've dated in the past, It was like I think about it like my college boyfriend was like a college athlete and he was like a football player. All the fucker did was smoke and like sit on the bench. Like imagine me going to the games. I'm like going to the games like where's my man? Like he didn't play. He didn't fucking play. I looked absolutely dumb going to he was like you don't need to come. I was like, "Babe, I'm going to support you." And then I genuinely got in a huge argument with him one time cuz I was like, "You can go to the NFL. You can do whatever the fuck you want in this lifetime, but like not the way you are right now, babe. Like, not the way I was like, you need to wake up at 6 a.m. and get those fucking workouts in and ditch the weed and like make yourself the best version of yourself. And he just wasn't willing to do that. And I was like, okay, so you're actually never going to the league. I don't know who the fuck has to break it to you, love. But like, when I say no brokeys, I mean no men that aren't going to make you the best versions of yourselves, who don't bring out a higher version of yourself that wasn't already existed before they came in. Like, you're never going to see me bring in a man. Well, I'm not going to stress it enough, but you're never going to see me bring in a man who doesn't bring something to the fucking table. Okay? And that's what I mean about the brokeys. Rather die than get me a brokey and it crazy. I'd rather die than have a brokey. Last losers we have that all of you need to stay away from are the love bombing losers. Okay, I've had like 2 very obvious love bombing losers in my life, and they just do the same fucking. And you know what I noticed with the love bombers? The same thing every single time. I never liked them in the beginning. And then 2 weeks in, suddenly I'm like in love because they're love bombing me. Like they're literally sitting there every day worshiping me, being like, you're so fucking amazing. And I'm like, oh, he gets it. He literally gets it. Like I think the same thing about it. He gets it. But the love bombers are the worst because it literally starts the same way. You're not that into him. And then somehow you're like, I think I might, wait a minute. I think I might love this. I think I might love this man. And it's because you love the facade that they're putting on, because they're putting on that facade that they're so into you. They like you so much. They're so into you. You're going on great dates. They're like planning the future. They're like, I'm getting you flowers. Like 2 days later, there's flowers at your door. They're like, what dress are you going to wear on our wedding? And you're like, a fucking navy, babe. I don't know. Like, it's crazy. Like, I don't know. And it's just like, it's the worst because it's really them just selling you a facade of a life that you really do want to live, but it's just not with them. Like it's hard to, I always say, because it's like, you're not sure if like, is this my soulmate? Like they're love bombing you. You really don't know the difference, because I believe like when you meet your soulmate, you're going to know kind of thing, and it's just going to be great. But then you kind of get a sense of it where you're like, because you see the love bombing go away. Because at first, it's nice dinners. We're talking sushi. We're talking a $400 dinner like it's nothing. And then like 2 weeks later, they're like, can you pick up the bill? And it's like, oh my God, I think I just got robbed by this man. Like they're just selling you a facade where they're like, no, I'm very successful. Like da 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 da. Like you're going to get flowers weekly. It's 3 weeks in. I've only got flowers once and you were pissed getting them. And they were bodega flowers, babe. Like what the fuck? Like they're just selling you a life that you want to. Honestly, the best salesman. Like if you're a love bomber, go into sales, because like you can really sell the dream. And that's how they get you. Like I honestly think it's another thing. It's like an ego thing, where they're just like trying to get you for their own ego. And they're just like, I could get any bitch I want. It's a very narcissistic thing to be a love bomber. You have to be a narcissist to be a love bomber, because duh, like going out of your way, spending all this money, proving all these things to this person just to be like, yeah, I could get like whoever I want kind of thing. Like anyone's going to fall in love with me because I'm that amazing. But like you're selling a fantasy life, you fat fucking loser. And it's just true. Like you really are. So like they'll set up the dates weekly. You're going to talk all the time with the love bombers. They're going to be like, how are you? Like 24/7. And like, you're really going to feel a connection with this love bomber, because like, that's exactly how they made you fucking feel. So like, it's normal to feel that way for a love bomber. But then this is my favorite part of a love bomber, when they pull away and then it's nothing. And you don't hear, and they're like, I'm done. I can't do this. Like, I'm so sorry. Like, I can't do this. And it's like, but last week, you and I were going to Tanzania and we were going to elope. So what are you talking about? You can't do this. And he's like, no, I just like can't do this. I'm like, you literally just asked me if I could be your girlfriend. And like, but you weren't at that, like, you know what I mean? Like, you literally just asked me to marry you. Like, you fucking loser. And they're the hardest to like get over, because they're the ones where it was like almost a relationship, because it was that close to a relationship, and you're sitting there like, what the fuck was that? Like, what was that? And it was like, babes, I hate to break it to you, but like, you got love bombed. And like, I would argue it's the most painful because it's a motherfucker you barely liked. You're like, this slithery little snake came into my life that I wasn't even that fucking interested in him. He was one of my Instagram whores. He lived in the DMs. I was never going to give this little fatty a chance. I give the fatty a chance, and like, I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, I kind of vibe with the fatty. And then he goes out of the way and then love bombs you. Get fucked in the ass. Any man that like literally love bombs, I'm sure has thought about getting fucked in the ass before. That's not a confirmed fact. I'm just saying it's giving like you're low-key bisexual because why can't you commit to any woman ever? Anyways, yeah, like love bombers can't commit. They literally can't commit. But like love bombers are worse than like the non-committal, emotionally unavailable losers because of the simple fact that like they're going to show you a life that you want to live with them. And it's like, it's not even hot and cold. They are so hot in the beginning and will be hot until the second they're done with you. And then they're done with you. And the thing is, you probably don't even like them either. You probably, oh my God, my lighting. Oh my God. You probably don't like them either. You just like the life that they sold you. You just like everything of them being like, you're so amazing, them being so attentive and everything like that. That's what you like. You don't actually like the love bomber, but it's hard because then it's always like, he's the like, what could have been. But once you get far enough from the situation, you're like, hold on a minute. Like I was love bombed to a different degree. And it's like, it's okay, babe. Like, we've all been there with the love bombing. Like, at least I have. Like, I was getting love bombed left and right because it's like, what do you... No, duh. You're going to love bomb me. I'm fucking amazing. Everything you're saying about me, like, I believe about myself. So, like, what? And the thing is, like, look out for the red flags on, like, a first date. Like, if he's already planning your future together, like, that is a big red flag that he is a love bomber. And it just is like... It's always the ones that you really don't fuck with that much up front where you're like, you're cute and fine, but like, you're not going to be my husband. And then suddenly it's like, wait, can we please go to Rome and get married? And it's like, how did I like shift that quickly? And it's like, babe, you got love bombed. I hate to break it to you. You got love bombed. But that's it for this week's episode. Those are just some of the losers that I've dated. Let me know down below which losers you've dated. Yeah, and I'm honestly like this feels like a very cleansing closing of a chapter, like no more losers. And I honestly haven't really been dating at all, but like I plan to start kind of dating. Maybe I say that every time. I'm not planning to start dating. I'm just letting my husband know he can come in and wife my ass up and that's fine with me. But yeah, like I have done my time. I have done my charity with the fucking losers. I'm good here. We're all good. Like goodbye. I'm completely done with a loser. And that's just that. And I hope every single one of us can get to that point. And I know it's like a learning and growing thing where it's like eventually they're just going to be so unattractive to you that you're like, I'd rather actually fucking off myself than be with one of these losers. And I hope we all get to that point because I think as women, we should, even as men. I know some men listen. Yeah. Me, and I know the men listen. Yeah. But yeah, those are just like the kinds of losers that I've dated. The lessons I've learned, because if this is one thing, this is live and learn. So we're always living, we're always learning. Fuck, like I'm low-key tired of living and learning. Okay, anyways, love every single one of you. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at She Is Livi, especially the YouTube, and rate the podcast 5 stars. I love you so much. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.